and welcome to Crafting Unedited. My name is Sierra, and today I'm going to show you how to print larger than 8.5 by 11 for sublimation printing, or infusible ink, or whatever you may be using. Anything that Cricut tries to minimize what you want to cut for a bigger shirt, or a larger tumbler, or whatever you may be doing. Normally I would use Microsoft Word for this, but apparently you can no longer edit on Word through a Mac, so that's great. So I am back to using what I was using before I got Word on my Mac, which is Design Space. If you don't have Design Space, I'm sorry. It's free to use to edit, so go ahead and get it. I mean, it's super helpful and useful. Doesn't hurt to have because it's free to use most things for. Even if you don't have a Cricut, you don't have to have a Cricut in order to have Design Space. I will repeat that. You don't have to have a Cricut to have Design Space. Just like you don't have to have a Silhouette to have Silhouette's Design Space, whatever you call it, Creator Space. So just keep that in mind. Even if you don't have a Cricut or a cutting machine, you don't need it to have these apps. They're totally free to use for most things. But today we're going to use Design Space, and I'm going to show you how to make print and cut bigger than necessary. If you're not sure how to use print and cut, because maybe you're one of those that didn't have Design Space that I just spoke of, go ahead and I'll drop in a card. So you just click on it and watch the print and cut tutorials that I have posted. There are also a few written tutorials on those, so make sure that you look at those as well on my website. If you have not yet, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Lots of fun things. I'm a realist. I like to screw things up and then show you how to fix it so that you don't have to. Save you some time and money. Anyways, now that I've wasted two minutes of your time, let's dive in. So I have this image right here. So apparently I have an attitude. This one could not be more accurate. And I want to make it for a size extra large shirt. However, Design Space only wants to let me print a 6.5 or 6.75 by 9.25 image. That's not big enough for an extra large shirt. That's barely big enough for a medium shirt. So this is my how-to. There's a couple ways to do this, but the easiest way that I have found is if you take a shape, get a square, take that square, make it about half the size of what you want. I actually don't want this image to be this big. That is humongous. We're going to drop that down to, I think for my extra large shirts, I do 11.5. So 11.5 divided by 2, doesn't even have to be even. First, you're going to take your square into the corner of whatever image. You're going to unlock the corner. Then, which is this button, this little locky thing here. What that does is it releases all 4 corners so that you can measure it, move it around, and kind of guide it. I want this to be in front, so I'm going to move to the front so that way I can see what the sizing looks like. I don't want it to be ridiculous. It doesn't really matter actually, now that I think about it. And then I'm going to go ahead and duplicate my square. That way I can make sure that I get every piece. So I want this to be in the back. That way you can see right here that I'm going to be missing just a little piece. So I want to kind of overlap a little bit, but not really. The other way to do this is to wait until you have this. Get rid of that. Select. Slice. Oh, why won't it let me? Oh, my Lancer, this is not. Sorry guys, it's not flattened. It needs to be flattened in order to do this. You can't slice more than 2 images, so, or 2 pieces. There we go. So select both. Why is it not letting me slice? It's not letting me do what I need to do. Why? Unflatten. Hang tight. I'm trying to figure this out. Still not letting me. This is ridiculous. If I weld it, then it turns it all black. Oh wait, no. It did not. Okay. Beautiful. Had to weld it. We're good. This is the only issue that I have with Design Space. It can be kind of wonky. There we go. So select it all. Slice. Then, my friends, you have 2 equal. Don't need any of this, so I'm just going to delete it all. You have your image split into 2 pieces. There we go. Boom. And now, as you can see, I have an 11.5 inch wide image cut into 2 separate pieces that Design Space will now let me cut. If you need something larger than the 11.5 inches, then you can do the same thing. Sorry, I was trying to figure out why that looked so weird. So you can do the same thing with really any image. We'll throw this one in here. I'm not going to actually print it because I already did. But, so this one's wide. This one's long. Same thing. We'll make this one 15 high. That's a big old image. Very, very big image. So, what am I doing? Shapes. Square. Same thing, just take it and take it to 15 divided by 2. It doesn't even have to be perfectly even in all reality. There we go. Now we're going to, oh my god, not this again. This is being so stupid. It won't let me slice. I don't understand this. This is what my channel is all about though, ladies and gentlemen. It is about effing up and learning how to fix said F up. Or trial and error and figuring out why the fudge it won't let you do what you want to do. Okay, let's try a different image because I'm not entirely sure why the heck that won't let me do it. It's so weird. I don't understand it. Print then cut. Standard. There we go. I just had to yell at it, I guess. That was dumb. So now, oh my gosh. It got one little square out. That's so stupid. Oh my gosh. I need it to be more than just one little square. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how to line them up and tape them too. Let's try this again, ladies and gentlemen. Slice. So now you see this is less than 9.25. It's still going to yell at me because it's 12.8 wide. I didn't think that one through. I only want the width to be that 9.25, which makes it 11 point. I want to make it longer. So, come on, Design Space. Sorry guys, this was supposed to be quick. There we go. Ignore that. All right, now let's resize my, I guess that part doesn't really matter. Phew. Slice. Does not have to be perfect because you don't need to worry about the square. And then we have this. I'm just deleting that. Ignore all that. And then put it together and voila. Well, almost. All right, now for the fun part, ladies and gents. Let's print and then tape them together. Why is this one yelling at me now? 9.2. Oh, when it does that, okay, so here's another lesson learned. Let's align all of this. There we go. So that it's about this right size. When it still yells at you, like over here, because it's a little bit too big. You see it's 9 point. It's not too big. Oh my gosh. What the fudge? 7.2505. Oh. See, this is just a smidgen. It's supposed to be 6.75 high. So I fudged that up, but we can easily fix it by grabbing it and making it just a little bit shorter. Again, sorry guys, this was supposed to be quick. Come on. It would help if Design Space would cooperate. Select my image. There we go. It's still not short enough. All right, good enough. Time to print. Make it. Now it will split it up so that I have the images the way that I want. My printer is already set to sublimation so that I don't need to mirror. Now I do not add bleed. I do use system dialog, and then I go to print. And I wait for the dialog to pop up in the background at some point in time. Make sure it's on best. Then paper handling. All my settings are already preset, so I don't have to worry about any of that. Media and quality. And then I go to matte. Photo matte paper is what I print. So that one will go to the printer. And then I'll do the same thing for this one. Wait for the dialog to pop up. Check the settings, photo matte paper, print, and then just repeat for all 4 pages. Do not rush. Make sure that you have the right printer selected and that you're using the system dialog for each print, as well as using the system dialog. I already said that. As well as changing your paper settings. Sorry guys, it's apparently been a long morning. Print one more. And then I'm going to hop off of this, jump over to the camera, show you what that side's all about, how to tape them together to make sure that you get the right seam so that when you press, it's not all weird. All right, check you over there in just a second. Alrighty then, so I've got the first image printed, the other one's still printing. Well, this one used a lot of ink, apparently. A lot more than I thought it would, but sorry. No worries, and it's quite blurry, so I will not be putting this on a shirt. And that's just because it was a screenshot that I took from one of my SVG dumps. So a little bit blurry, but for the sake of this video, it works. So what you're going to do is, obviously you don't want these black lines, so you're going to cut as close to the edges. Well, for this part, doesn't really matter how close you get, but for the bottom part that connects the two, you're going to get as close to this edge as you possibly can when you cut it. And I'm going to use the Cricut paper cutter thing. Paper cutter thing. You like that? I did. So paper cutter thingy. And I'm going to kind of show you how I guide or measure or whatever. So we're going to move you a little bit closer. And I was having difficulty with my SD card, so I'm not going to turn the camera off in order to avoid more of those issues. So I'm just going to keep moving you. All right, so I'm going to point you downward, show you what I'm working on here. See, we've got this, we've got our image, and this part, again, doesn't really matter. It's this part that connects the two together that matters. So I'm going to align this. I'll show you. You see this little thing right here? Not many people know how to use this thing. So this little seam right here, that is where the cutter goes through. That is where you need to have the edge of your paper, is right here. In this little groove thingy right here. So I'm going to take the edge of this, and what I like to do is get the edge of the side first, as close as I can. That way I can, sorry, I can't talk and cut at the same time apparently. That's good enough. Get off. So I like to have one side. Reason being is it's a little bit easier to see my groove line if I don't have a big white thing in the middle of it. So it's easier to, I'm going to show you right here, measure where my little groove line is to the edge. If I don't have a big bulky white chunk right there, I can see how it is a little bit closer. So I like to cut off the edge. That's my tip for you. Then we're just going to align it as best as possible. Trying to get it as flat as possible, straight as possible, all the possibles. And then we're just going to slice. And it was not straight. See, this, if you press it like this, you're going to have this white seam. We don't want that. So we're going to go ahead and redo it on the other side. Oops. I'm sure you could have figured this out on your own, and if you did, fantastic. I'm so happy for you. So happy for you. But some people need a little additional assistance, and that's okay. I'm just trying to straighten this out here, guys. Bear with me. so that I don't end up cutting into the image. I mean, you can also take a pair of scissors, obviously, and do this, which I'm going to do with some magnets on it, apparently. I don't know why I can't cut straight to save my life, but I always get nervous using scissors. Doesn't really matter because I'm not really using this image anyway. But you just want to try to make sure that you get it, 1, as straight as possible, and 2, right on that edge. And you only have to do this with one side, guys. I'll show you in just a second. Hang tight. I know you're getting bored. Keep your attention for just a couple more minutes. So you're going to take this seam, which is the other half of your image, cut it down to where that black part is off. It's the only thing that you're concerned with on this one, is getting the black line off. That's it. So now we're going to tape the two together. Normally, if I was pressing and using this image, I would cut all the black lines off first, but I'm not, so we don't have to. So you're going to take your top and your bottom and you're going to align them perfectly. I mean, as perfect as you can get it. In order to get a great seam, I normally pick one fine detail and align that specific detail. Then everything else should align the way that it should. Try not to focus on the whole image, just one specific detail. Like for this one, I focused on her collar. That way it was aligned really well until I moved it. I still have a little bit of a white line there, but that's okay. Again, I'm not really using this image, so it does not matter. There we go. All right, now that it's aligned the way that I want it, we're going to take some heat resistant tape. I mean, what tape you use right now does not really matter, because we are literally just going to do a quick, there we go, on the side here so that we can do it on the back. So in order to get it perfectly aligned on the other side to tape it, you're going to want to do the same thing. Try to keep it. That's why I taped over here. And this is why I save part of the edge so that you can tape in order to flip. I should have saved that side too, but again, learning with you guys, because watch, now that I did that, it's not gonna work. Another hack, light pad, meet sublimation image. Why isn't it? Oh, because this isn't on. There we go. So, light pad, perfect, almost. So I can see the seam lines up pretty well from the back part of the light here. And now I'm just going to take a piece of tape and tape it right across there. I just had a light bulb moment, guys. Thank you for hanging out, and if you've made it this far, I really do appreciate you, and you just learned something really awesome, because I did not plan to use the light pad. But here we are. And now you know. To line up your images, use a dang light pad. It's so easy, because not only can I see where it's too dark, I can also see where it's too light. And that means that the seams are not aligned. Again, focusing on one spot. There we go. Look at that. Perfect. Perfect. Minus over here. I need to tape that a little bit more. But I'll tape these two together and we'll be good. Look how perfect that is. So, light pad avoids needing any tape on the front. You'll just see if, I want to show you how to tell. So, right here, this is the seam, right? If it's not on target, you see that white line right there? That means that it's not aligned properly. If there's no white line, it means that it is aligned properly. If it's too dark, I'm trying to move it so that you can see where it would be too dark. Right there. Can you tell right there where it's too dark? It's not aligned. But if it's perfectly aligned, don't mind this white up here. This is because the light's reflecting off of the white. I'm talking about down here. This is where my seam is. If it's white right here, like that, it's not aligned. If it's too dark, like that, it's not aligned. If it's perfect, you can see that there's no additional lines. Beautiful. Right? It's well, minus the fact that the side isn't taped yet. It's almost perfect. Going to move you back up. Hi. Alrighty, guys. So that is how you make a larger than 8.5, 8 by 14, whatever size image with, I use Design Space today, but to sublimate and print and do whatever you need to for bigger shirts. You can do the same thing if you need it bigger than that. If you want it wider than 8.5, that's super easy. You can either turn it to landscape or slice it into 4 and do the exact same process. If you want it way, 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 way bigger, do the same thing, just slice it into different sections and make sure, I like to make sure that they're the same size or almost the same size in some shape or form, because it does make my brain think it matches easier. If you have like this huge image and you have one piece that's 6 inches, one piece that's 9 inches, one piece that's 12, 14, 16, it's just too much. It's too crazy. And then you have all these little like odd shapes to mix and match together, and we don't want that. So cut the same size as much as you can. Make sure that if you have a light pad, great, use it. This one was $30 on Amazon. Great deal. I can post a link in the description for you. But if you don't have a light pad, use the process that I showed you where you leave part of the edges open until you flip it over, tape, and then you cut the edges off. That way you have a perfect seam and you can eyeball it from the front and not the back, and you only have to cut the edge of one side off. That limits any like weird edging or creasing or trying to think of the word. I can't think of the word, but anyways, so it doesn't have a weird connection point when you sublimate it. Whatever. You guys get what I'm saying. And if you don't, I'm very sorry. So that is how you make a sublimation print bigger than what your printer can print in one image. If you're like me and you have an Epson EcoTank 2760, 20, I don't remember, but it can only print 8.5 by 11 or 8.5 by 14. So I need to make my images bigger so that I can make bigger shirts for my awesome customers. So that's how you do it. Sorry it took so long to explain it, but I had a few hiccups. Showed you how to fix those hiccups and how to work around them. And I showed you some really awesome hacks. So you got a bunch of stuff just for watching me. And you got a great personality with me. Anyways, so that, my friends, is how you do that. Make sure that you subscribe, like, drop a comment if I missed something. I'd love to hear from you, or if I showed you something new, I'd love to hear that too. Till next time, we'll see you later. Bye.